Hi, I'm Louis, head of acquisitions at MyArtBroker. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a first-time buyer, here are a few things that you might want to bear in mind when purchasing an Andy Warhol print. Andy Warhol was the architect of pop art. He was an American artist who was born in 1928 and who passed in 1987. He featured a lot of pop culture icons in his artwork. Marilyn Monroe, Liz Taylor. He brought to the forefront of his art a number of issues that were specific to his time, specifically things like mechanical reproduction, advertisements, but also political issues such as endangered species and global warming. Purchasing an artwork by Andy Warhol is akin to owning a piece of art history. He was so important in the canon of contemporary art during his time, and perhaps even more so today, that owning an artwork by Andy Warhol is an absolutely exceptional feat for a contemporary art collector. Andy Warhol produced a number of prints throughout his lifetime. In fact, he produced almost 20,000 prints. But what a lot of collectors don't know is that they come at absolutely every price point. So you can purchase an artwork by Andy Warhol, a print specifically, from anywhere between £2,000 to £4 million. So purchasing a print is actually a very good entry point for a first-time Andy Warhol collector. Purchasing an Andy Warhol print is absolutely a good investment. Warhol's market is what we call a mature market. So what that means is collectors have been purchasing his artworks for decades now. You know, Andy Warhol passed away 36 years ago, and yet demand has never been higher, and the value of his artworks have never been higher as well. You know, for example, Andy Warhol's market increased by over 230% between 2017 and 2023. So that gives you an idea of how well the market is doing. Andy Warhol's work has remained so relevant is because throughout his oeuvre, he has tackled a lot of issues that were poignant to his era, but that are still very much relevant today. If you look at his Ladies and Gentlemen portfolio, for example, bringing to the forefront of his work, you know, the trans community and a number of iconic figures of the New York City ballroom dancing community, Andy Warhol was trying to shed light on a community that unfortunately did not have enough representation in visual culture. Today, more than ever, it is so incredibly important to continue the work that Andy Warhol has begun by purchasing his artwork and by seeing his artwork and exhibiting his artwork and making sure that the legacy lives on. If this is your first time purchasing a print by Andy Warhol, it might be a little bit disconcerting. There is a wide range of different types of prints. It might be difficult to know what to buy first. So a few things to bear in mind are, there are a number of prints that are lower value and that are very affordable. You know, if you take, for example, Andy Warhol's Sunday Be Morning prints, those start at a couple of hundreds of pounds. Now, of course, that's not the same thing as buying an authentic prints hand-signed and numbered by Andy Warhol. Some of those will start around the £2,000 mark. It's important to bear in mind the edition total. So some prints will have a low edition total and some prints will have a higher edition total. Of course, rarity is going to impact the value of the prints significantly. Things such as authenticity, condition, rarity, demand are all a number of factors to bear in mind when purchasing an artwork that will impact the value of the piece. Now, as you've acquired a few pieces by Andy Warhol, you might want to work your way up to the more valuable and to the more in-demand pieces, specifically complete sets. Something that is very much in demand right now are complete sets with matching edition numbers. I'll give you an example, Andy Warhol's Endangered Species series, a number of prints that showcase animals that were already endangered species back in the 80s when Andy Warhol had produced those pieces. Fortunately, are still very much in danger of extinction today.
I would tell your collectors, it's not that you should go into collecting art being suspicious of everything and everyone's out to get you and nobody tells the truth. Well, of course that goes on, but if you're dealing with reliable people, you're not going to have these problems. It's when people try to take a shortcut, when you think I'm going to outsmart the market, I'm going to go on eBay. These companies, they don't vet the stuff. I mean, eBay's excuse is they're just the middleman. They're providing a platform. They have nothing to do with the transaction. That's between you, the buyer, and you, the seller. We're just here to, lend our support. And you also, while we're on the subject, the way they get around these things is, people listing Warhols for sale now say, well, we can't guarantee anything. We're just saying it's attributed to Andy, or they'll use words which take them off the hook. But they always say it's not authenticated. We can't promise that, but we're pretty sure it is a Warhol. There's funny language that's used. So anyway, beware of stuff like that. Don't do business like that. The biggest bargain in the art market is buying a great print by a great artist and paying the current market rate for it. That's just how it works. If you're buying it below the market or above the market, that's not a good situation. But if you're buying it at what the last copy brought approximately at Sotheby's or Christie's or Phillips, fine. If you're within 10% of that, pay it.
There are a number of prints that are available from Warhol's portfolio. Did you know that Andy Warhol actually started his career as a commercial illustrator? So he actually produced a number of artworks that are original watercolors on paper. We can still see some examples of those with his Cat's Name Sam pieces. Actually, fun fact, did you know that his mom helped him with the coloring of those pieces? And so after having produced them, he experimented with lithographs. And today there are a number of regular lithographs, but also offset lithographs that are widely available to collectors at very affordable price points. Later on in his career, Andy Warhol experimented with silkscreens, and he actually became world-renowned for his skillful screen printing techniques that he perfected. Collectors love and adore. Today, when collectors are looking to acquire specific screen prints by Andy Warhol, a few things that they have to bear in mind are what type of prints they are actually acquiring. Now, there are regular editions. Always important to bear in mind that edition total, as that will affect value and demand and rarity, but also things like whether the print in question is an artist proof or a trial proof, or whether it is hors commerce, which will be denominated, generally bottom right or bottom left, with some initials that'll say AP or TP or HC. As a general rule, Andy Warhol's most popular prints refer to his most iconic original artworks. So prints that feature figures such as Marilyn Monroe, Liz Taylor. Now, of course, subject matter is not the only thing that matters. Today, complete sets are very much in demand. So once again, if you're lucky enough to come across a full set by Andy Warhol, whether that is the ads portfolio or the ladies and gentlemen portfolio or the endangered species portfolio, especially those with matching edition numbers, that is what is most in demand from collectors at the moment. Might I add, almost as much as original artworks. When purchasing an Andy Warhol print, condition is key. You want to make sure that you purchase a piece that is in the best condition possible. And upon acquiring that piece, you have to do everything in your power to make sure that the piece is kept in excellent condition in order for it to both keep its current value and hopefully in the future to appreciate in value. It's important both if you wish to sell the piece in the future or if you wish to pass it on to your children, to friends, family, anyone at all. Condition is key for a number of reasons. Obviously, prints are generally in a limited number of editions. So, if you are looking to acquire a print that is an edition of 250, you obviously want to buy a piece that is in the best condition possible, considering that there are 249 other pieces out there that might be in a better condition. So don't waste your time with something that is anything less than in good condition. Has the piece been kept outside of the sun? Are the colors still the original colorways? Has the piece suffered from any humidity or water damage or molding? Is there any foxing? It's very important to look at the edges. Sometimes there's some foxing that can creep up in there, especially underneath the frame. Has the piece been kept behind UV protective glass? That's something that would really make an impact on whether the colors have faded throughout time or not. Also, good to check whether the paper is still flat or whether it has undulated a little bit. Might also want to bear in mind that sometimes paper, when not kept in excellent conditions, can yellow a little bit. However, if you notice any of those things, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Just take your piece, bring it to a conservator to see what the assessment of the conservator is. They might be able to suggest some treatment for your piece to make it look as good as new.
The other thing is make sure you get one in good condition. This is a real problem in the print market. There are a lot of prints out there. If you talk about Warhol Maryland prints, a lot of them were faded. People had no idea these were going to be worth anything. The Marylands were released, I'm guessing 67. It was $500 for a portfolio of 10. I don't know, what are they now? 3 million, 3 million 5. And people, it was inconceivable this would be worth anything. All right. I've seen Warhol Marylands where they were actually cut down so they could fit in a frame. You know, someone brought it to a framer and frame it. I'm off by half an inch. Here's the exact amount. There we go. It's like, oh my God, nobody knew. A lot of them were glued down, to the backing board. They weren't worth anything. A lot of them were hung in sunlight. People just didn't know how sunlight would fade these things. So I would say the best advice, deal with people pay up. There's no deals. You got to pay for what you want, buy the best you can afford, and make sure it's in good condition. Those are the keys to buying prints, certainly to buying Warhol prints.
There are a number of places where you can purchase an Andy Warhol print. The first one is at auction. The second is in an art gallery. The third is online. And finally, via a broker. So if you purchase an artwork directly via an Andy Warhol collector. Now, if you wish to purchase an artwork at auction, a few things that you might want to bear in mind are there are always fees associated to selling and buying at auction. Fees can be rather elevated. Generally, sellers' fees can be up to 15% and buyers' fees, so the buyer's premium, can be up to about 25%. So obviously, you're going to be paying a little bit more than any other place on the market. Now, if you wish to purchase an artwork in an art gallery, the price point might seem a little bit different from the range that has been provided to a collector at auction. The reason for that is simply that galleries generally have quite a large overhead, so they have to factor that into the price point of the artwork that they'll be selling. Now, of course, the galleries also determine price points based off of their client base, their network of collectors, the demand that they have for specific prints. It's a free market, so they are very welcome to determine prices as they see best fit, and they're very welcome to sell pieces for however much they think that they can sell it for. Finally, you can purchase an Andy Warhol print via a broker. What that means is a private sale will be conducted. So if you happen to know any Andy Warhol experts, then you can go to them, show them your prints, have it appraised, and likewise, you can also ask them if they know where to find a specific print that you're looking for, and then seller and buyer will be put in touch, and you can purchase an artwork directly via that broker.
You obviously have to know who you're dealing with. I can't emphasize this enough. Buy from people who have great reputations. Even if they make a mistake, they'll take it back. They'll give you your money back, or they'll find something else for you. You have to work this way. You can't believe the number of people who go on eBay to buy Warhol prints. And it's remarkable. I mean, it's the classic, if you see a Warhol print being offered for $2,500, let's say, it's from the endangered species, and it's a zebra or a tiger, geez, $2,500. Boy, it looks good to me. Well, it's the classic, man, that's a red flag. there's no way these things are genuine.